Hello everybody, welcome back to, of course, another episode of Cape Rugby. Where we carry on talking about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Nice to have you along, and just when you thought that Club Rugby action is going quiet, well, you'd be mistaken. It's very much alive and very busy. We'll talk more about that during the course of the show, but before we get going, big thanks, of course, to our partners on board with us. Score Energy Drinks, major partner of Western Province Club Rugby and the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. In fact, we're going to talk about that this evening. You can win yourself a case of Score also during the course of the show. And behind me you see Decro Paints. Decro Paints on board with Cape Rugby TV, and we'll talk more about Decro also during the course of the show, and we'll play a little highlight video for you. And of course, MChem 24-hour pharmacy, the corner of N1 and Durban Road. We'll talk about MChem, their official partner to the DHL Stormers and DHL Western Province Rugby. Folks, in studio with me, Stanley Robenheimer. Stanley, Western Province Rugby. Stanley, nice to have you back.
Pleasure to be back. Sun is out. Good day to talk about rugby.
Yeah, I suppose. Is your women's team having a bit of rest at the moment?
Well, we're having a bit of a break. Yeah, a good season. Made it to the final. Unfortunately, the Bulls were just too good on the day for us. But we brought some nice youngsters through, so the future looks bright for Western Province women.
For you guys, though, from a rugby point of view, there's no break. It's a 12-month season now.
Yeah, complete 12-month season. The planning that goes behind the scenes, trying to get our system working more on a professional basis. There's a couple of challenges in that. Yeah. And just to get the right squad going forward for the next campaign.
But for rugby players in general, if you're not playing rugby, you maybe take a couple of days off, and then it's all strength and conditioning, making sure that the body is always ready to go.
Yeah, from a women's side, that's where we want to move to.
Yeah.
For them, it's normally end of the season, end of the last match, they stop completely and then go back to house chores and forget about getting them ready for the next season. So hopefully we can get that culture going within Western Province. That's what we're trying to plan and see how we can get it moving forward by giving the players the absolute best opportunity to perform next year.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we are going to be talking about tonight, folks, is the educational sessions that Western Province Rugby is delivering over the next 3 weeks. There's a strength and conditioning course coming up, as well as a sevens rugby course. So strength and conditioning is very topical at the moment. Well, in fact, so is sevens rugby. We'll talk more about that shortly. Folks, it was some major games in the Paarl region, in the Paarl knockouts this past weekend. Lower Paarl's first team was up against Paarl Rangers' first team, and the second team's also in the knockout, Young Gardens against Young Standards. We're going to take a look at these highlights for you. Of course, courtesy of the guys, Jonathan and the team that brought us some of the footage. But let's take a look at the first half. Lower Paarl and Paarl Rangers. right, welcome back, folks. Lower Paarl and Paarl Rangers in the knockout final there in the Paarl region. Lower Paarl leading 10 points to 3 at halftime. Stanley, this is a massive derby match in the Paarl region. But before we talk about, we'll talk about that after the break. But just quickly, snapshot of your thoughts on the game.
Like you said, it's a very big derby in that region. But impressed with both teams. You can see Lower Paarl shifting the point of contact most of the time. The ball is doing a lot of work. Rangers have to defend a lot on that first half, and they did well to keep it by 10-5, 10-3. So very impressed with the quality of both teams.
Yeah, big derby in the Paarl region there, folks. Lower Paarl and Paarl Rangers. Of course, the first team in the knockout, and then we're going to take a look at the Young Gardens versus Young Standards highlights as well. That's in the second team, also in the knockouts. So a lot of excitement in the Paarl region, and it continues this weekend with some more fixtures. This time it's going to be Lower Paarl against Young Peoples. We'll look at those fixtures in a minute or so. But big thanks, of course, to Jonathan Brendan for sending in the footage, and of course the footage there covered by CF Adams Granite and Casper Adams, and the guys supporting Jonathan and Lower Paarl and Paarl Rangers by sending us the footage. So big thanks to the guys in the Paarl region. We'll take a break. We'll come back soon. Don't go away.